At first, it just looked like another special day in Japan. Gawin was on the lineup to perform at GMTM Music on X Japan 2025 Day 1. The spotlight was on him, and fans were cheering louder than ever. But little did they know someone very special was also in the crowd. Yes, Joss showed up, quietly, calmly, but his presence spoke volumes. He wasn't there for the fame. He wasn't there for himself. He was there for one person only, Gawin, and what started as a supportive boyfriend moment soon turned into something much deeper, because when Gawin interacted with someone from his past, Joss's real emotions, they couldn't hide anymore. While the spotlight was shining bright on Gawin, Joss was standing somewhere in the shadows. But even from there, you could tell his heart was right up there on that stage with Gawin. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't making a scene, but his presence was powerful. The kind of support that doesn't need to be loud because it's built on something real. Every lyric Gawin sang, every note he hit, you just knew Joss was feeling it too. Not as a fan, but as someone who knows the struggles behind the scenes. As someone who's seen the late nights, the pressure, the passion, and now he was right there, watching the person he loves, absolutely owning the stage. If that's not a supportive boyfriend, we don't know what is. Everything was flowing perfectly, Gawin on stage, Joss in the crowd, the energy high. But then, a moment no one saw coming, from the corner of his eye, Gawin noticed someone familiar in the audience. Pakrist, his former co-star, his old on-screen partner, a person who used to stand beside him on a very different stage. And in that split second, they shared a smile, a wavy, a quick touch of hands, friendly, familiar, harmless, right? But for those who know the history, that wasn't just any greeting. That was a moment charged with memories. A quiet echo from the past, and even though it lasted just a second, it was long enough for someone else to feel something shift, because when an old flame flickers, even just briefly, the person holding the candle now, they feel it. From the outside, it probably looked innocent. Just a friendly wave, a polite handshake between two people who used to work together. But Joss, he saw it all, and in that brief moment, his entire body language changed. No words, no drama, but his eyes, they were locked in. Not on Pakrist, on Gawin. It wasn't anger. It wasn't doubt. It was something deeper, possessiveness, that raw, instinctive feeling of he's mine. Not yours. Not anymore. Because when you love someone as deeply as Joss does, even a harmless greeting from an ex can feel like a threat. And the way Joss looked at Gawin afterward, not with suspicion, but with a quiet fire. The kind of fire that says, I'm not going anywhere. And neither are you. But let's be honest, this wasn't about ego. This wasn't about drama. This was about how much Joss cares. Because when Gawin smiled at Pakrist just for a second, it triggered something real. Not because Joss didn't trust Gawin, but because he loves him. When someone's your everything, even the past feels too close for comfort. So yes, Joss was jealous. Yes, he was possessive. But underneath it all, it was love. Protective. Deep. Quietly fierce love. And that kind of love, it doesn't fade. It only burns stronger, especially when you feel like you have something so precious. You never want to lose it. It didn't take long for fans to pick up on it. The camera might have been on Gawin, but eyes were darting toward Joss. The way he stood a little stiffer, the way his smile dropped just slightly after the Pakrist moment. It was subtle but not invisible. Is Joss jealous? Wait, was that a look? fan comments started flooding in. Because when someone loves you that deeply, they don't always have to speak. You feel it, even through a camera lens. And this time, Joss's silence spoke louder than words, not in a negative way, but in that soft, heart-thudding way that fans love to overanalyze, because every little sign, it means something. Even with all those emotions swirling inside, Joss couldn't stay in that jealous space for long, because Gawin, he didn't just look amazing on stage. He looked happy, confident, alive. And when someone you love is shining that bright, you can't help but be proud. Joss's eyes softened, his shoulders relaxed, and in that moment, his possessiveness turned into admiration. Because yeah, Gawin waved at someone from his past, but everything about his present belonged to Joss. Later that night, away from the stage, there were no crowds, no spotlights, no cameras, just the two of them. We'll never know what was said. Maybe nothing needed to be. But fans imagine it went something like this. Joss teasingly asking, "Didn't know your ex would be here." Gawin smiling, "You're the only one I noticed." Because behind every public moment, behind every look of jealousy, there's a quiet kind of love that doesn't need to prove anything. They know what they have, and sometimes, that's more than enough. What makes jossgawin so different? It's not just their chemistry. It's not the stage moments or public appearances. It's everything in between. The tiny reactions, the subtle emotions they try but fail to hide, the way Joss gets just a little bit jealous, and the way Gawin calms him down with just one look. It doesn't feel like fan service. It doesn't feel like acting. It feels real, because when you've been through so much together on screen, off screen, through fame, pressure, and personal growth, you start to build something that even cameras can't fully capture. And that's what jossgawin showed us in Japan. Not just music, not just performance, but love. Quiet, honest, unshakable love. In the end, Joss didn't have to say much, and Gawin didn't have to explain anything, because the way they look at each other, the way they move around each other, that's the story. Jealousy, support, comfort, pride. It all exists in their silence. And that's what makes jossgawin different. That's what makes them real. It's not just about being a couple on screen. It's about the way they show up for each other in quiet moments, in subtle glances, and yes, even in the middle of a crowd in Japan. Sometimes love doesn't need big words. Sometimes it just needs a presence, and Joss's presence that day said everything.